This is a Texas Tech and Iowa State conversation, and it's a conversation about health. It's a conversation about health. This is not the time of year when you want to be having to wait on a bunch of injury updates and be very concerned about what is going to happen with your rotation here. For Iowa State, I mean, it's already started with bad news. Keyshawn Gilbert's been shut down for the season. He was their second leading scorer, their leading assister. That's 13 points, 4 assists per game. That is just done. Unfortunately, the end of his career at Iowa State, it's a tough deal. Been battling injuries for a while, and he's just going to be on the shelf, not going to play. Then you've got Tamin Lipsey. Now, Tamin Lipsey is going to play, according to TJ Otzelberger, but he's also been banged up for a minute here. So how healthy is he actually? And when you just fold that into the overall narrative of Iowa State's season, I always screw up his last name. Milan, the shooter, the stretch four for Iowa State, who's a fabulous shooter, 40% three-point shooter and averaging 11 points per game. He missed time with injury. Now he is back, but it's just they've been shuffling those three guys in and out of the lineup and frankly have not been the same since mid-January. You know, when they had peaked in the top 5, they were 5-0 in the Big 12, looked every bit a national championship contender. They're 8-7 in the Big 12 since then, 9-8 if you want to include the Big 12 tournament. So they're like one game over 500 since then, which still in the Big 12 is, I mean, that's like tournament quality, but it's not national championship contender quality. And that's what they've been for basically 2 months at this point. It was January 15th when they were 5-0. So we're going on 2 months of Iowa State being kind of this version of themselves, which I don't know has enough to make some kind of really deep run. I will say I do like their path to the Sweet 16 because I think the play-in game winner is going to take care of Ole Miss. I am not too worried about that. Even if it is Ole Miss, I don't know. I'm no expert on SEC basketball. I would not profess to be, and we all kind of put on these expert hats for March Madness when I don't think all of us are watching a bunch of college basketball outside of our own leagues throughout the year. But Ole Miss doesn't scare me a ton either. And I really, truly do. I mean, I think it's been proven time and again, those playing game winners have such an advantage. And I would be looking for that play-in winner to beat Ole Miss there. So I like Iowa State's path to the Sweet 16. I think from there, it gets really, really hard. That will become very difficult. Michigan State, I think, is a really good team there as the 2. Texas Tech, man, I love Texas Tech. Love watching Texas Tech and their team and the pieces that they have. But again, it's about health, dude. What can we expect here? Now, I mean, it seems like this situation is a little bit better than Iowa State's, but Darian Williams and Chance McMillan have just both been battling injuries for a while now, or at least it feels like a while. Texas Tech fans, could tell me that more specifically. But I don't like the uncertainty there. I don't like it being a little disjointed with those guys not being in the lineup the whole time here as you're coming down the stretch run of the season and trying to peak in March. And it's a real shame because I think this team has so many elements of like what you need. For so long, you would see people like on Twitter always say, hey, if you want to pick a national champion, it's got to be from these groups because it's these teams that have this, X, Y, and Z. I mean, one of the things I would see talked about all the time was better have a top 40 offense and a top 40 defense. Top 40 offense, top 40 defense. Well, Texas Tech's got that, and they've got a top 6 offense. It's the number 6 offensive efficiency team in the country, according to Ken Palm, and they're like 36, 37 in defense. So, I mean, that's Grant McCasland. I thought of defense when he got to Texas Tech, and now he's put together this elite offensive team. So Texas Tech, I think, has a lot of the pieces in place if they can stay relatively healthy. And my fingers are very much crossed on that because I legit think they've got the potential to make another one of those deep runs, which, they've been to a national championship game and another Elite Eight in the last, what has that been? Was that like 2018 that they had Elite Eight that year? That's all in the last 6-7 years. Definitely a program that can do it. Arizona, I also think, has a pretty nice path to the Sweet 16. Albeit it's a little BYU-y. I think their first game could be tricky. Akron has been to the tournament 3 of the last 4 years, and they just dominated the MAC this year, just crushed them. So I don't think Akron's going to be like intimidated or weary of the spotlight that comes with playing in the NCAA tournament in a game like that. But I don't really think, like if you're looking at Oregon, if they were to not get upset in a 5-12 game, I don't know. Oregon doesn't really do it for me that much. I think Arizona could be okay. Would be very interesting, obviously, with how well the programs know each other from having played for so long until moving this past year. So I like the upside there for Arizona if they can avoid the upset in round one against Akron and just take care of business. Baylor, Kansas. I get, it's how crazy is that? Like I was about to just punt on that, like eject on this segment and be like, all right, I've kind of talked through all the major points here, teams that I really think can go deep. And the two teams I haven't talked about are Baylor and Kansas, the two national champions from the last 5 years in the Big 12. I think Kansas should beat Arkansas, but I don't know how you could say you've seen anything from that team since the Duke game way back in like November that would tell you that Kansas is really going to be capable of making some kind of deep run. Now, I mean, could they get to the Sweet 16? Like, yeah, I mean, maybe. Like I could squint and see that. I don't think they're doing anything more. I don't think that team is stringing together 3 or 4 like great performances. We just have not seen it. So you'd be banking on something that you have not seen with this group. You'd just be banking on the name on the front of the jersey and the head coach. And this is a year where I think you actually, for once, you can't really do that. So there's that with Kansas. Baylor, I mean, they could definitely be Mississippi State. Mississippi State really struggled down the stretch run of the season. You could be Mississippi State. I don't think you're beating Duke after that. Norchad O'Meara played in the Final Four at Miami. Jeremy Roach played in the Final Four and an Elite Eight at Duke. So they've got some experienced pieces there that have done this before, but that's another team where, kind of limp into the finish line. Never this year have you watched Baylor and been like, yeah, that's a team that can consistently string them together. That's just not. It's just not what their vibe has been most of this year here. So I'm not counting on either of those. It would be complete gravy, icing on the cake, if you get some sort of a second weekend run from either one of those teams in Kansas and Baylor. So that's kind of how I'm looking at the Big 12 heading into the NCAA tournament this week. I think I'm going to wrap it up a little bit early today because of all that. Getting through basically just an all basketball show here. Like I said, I should have some good stuff for you from Gene Taylor, K-State's athletic director, next time I talk to you. If you want to hear the whole interview, make sure you are subscribed to the 3MA podcast, K-State fans. Rise and Shout says, don't go early. Well, hey, if someone has a question, get it in now while I do the housekeeping, and you can keep me on a little bit longer, Rise and Shout. But that's where I'm at, Like the video, please. Subscribe to the channel, please, if you have not done that. Many of you have not, judging by the numbers every week here. So would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. That really helps me. It also helps me if you subscribe to the Open for Business Big 12 newsletter. Again, if you get that, today I sent out the Open for Business Big 12 primer for the NCAA tournament, so you can get some more information on all these games and be ready for Thursday, Friday, and be the smartest guy in your group chat.